Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to our chart dive series, where we dive right into the charts of famous people or public figures you might know to explore why the way that they are and to see the human design chart in action. Today, we're going to be diving into the chart of Belle Gibson, a woman who built a wellness empire based on a pretty massive web of lies. And if you don't know her story, you might want to watch the documentary The Search for Instagram's Worst Con Artist or the new show Apple Cider Vinegar, both of which are on Netflix. But basically, Belle skyrocketed to success and to fame through claiming she had terminal brain cancer and claiming that she cured it with healthy eating and alternative therapies. She launched an app, she had a cookbook, and grew this massive following, all until it came crashing down when she was exposed for all her lies. So today we're going to be diving into her human design chart, but the problem is we don't have an accurate birth time, and her chart actually changes and fluctuates a lot throughout the day from her type, her profiles, and her channels. So we are going to explore the possibilities, and I wanted to share what I think she is based on what I've analyzed in her chart. And I'd love for you to speculate along with me and just share your thoughts in the comments as we go along. Also, I'm going to share insights based on the birth time that I think she has, so the chart that I think she has, to explain her ambition, to explain her success and the qualities as someone that was able to maintain this image and maintain this lie for so long. So you're going to want to watch until the end. But before we get into this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to continue to satisfy your human design curiosity and be the first to know when we release fresh new content just like this one. And for those who are new here, my name's Crystal Alferrero. I'm a human design teacher and guide, and I help people like yourselves make sense of the human design system. And just a disclaimer, this video is strictly for educational and entertainment purposes only. Everything I share in this video are speculations based on what I see publicly available in the media and what I observe in the human design chart, which may not necessarily be a factual representation of reality, but it's nonetheless insightful. So with that said, if you're sensitive to this topic, I highly recommend not watching. But if you want to have fun with me, let's just dive in. All right, so according to Wikipedia and a few other articles that I found on the internet, her birth certificate and financial documents report her birthday as October 8th, 1991, which is what I have up here. And typically when I don't have an accurate birth time or I don't have a birth time, I usually like to start at 12 and then I'll kind of like play around with it based on 3-hour intervals to see how much things change. And in Belle's case, there was quite a bit of fluctuation. And what I found is that if she was born on this date between 3 a.m. to 8 p.m., it would give her either a 5-1, 5-2, or a 6-2 splenic manifestor design. Anything before that would give her a 5-1 splenic projector design, or after that would give her a 6-2 projector design. And firstly, so we're going to start speculating here, but when I look at just type alone, I feel like she's a manifestor. I think she's a manifestor based on the way that she seems to have almost effortlessly captured the attention of others and initiated her way to success. I feel like she might have struggled a lot more if she was a projector and maybe not have had that early success based on the way that she was working. And I mean, you could argue for the other side of it. Maybe you could say that the bitterness and the desire to be recognized and to be seen, maybe that pushed her to lie in order to gain success. But even then, I still think Belle, was someone that moved quickly and moved in secret and had success with initiating her way there without necessarily burning out, which I think are a lot more along the lines of manifestor. So this is kind of my case for being a splenic manifestor. And she would either be a manifestor through the defined channel 5720, like we see here, right? If she was born between 3 a.m. and 12 p.m., or she would be a manifestor with the channel 4816 if she was born from 12 to around 8 or 9. So I'm just going to show you quickly. So if she was born at 12, it would change your chart. There you go. So you would see the channel of the wavelength instead, because again, the moon, unconscious moon, is moving. It moves a lot quicker. It's one of the, I'm going to say, closer, faster transiting celestial bodies. And so you see it moving from gate 20 to gate 16. And yeah, I mean, when I look at this and when I was comparing it, given her ability to improvise and keep up with her lies, I honestly think she has the 5720, the channel of the brainwave, which is essentially the gift of improvisation and having that intuition to act and speak spontaneously in the moment in order to keep her safe, right? It's rooted in that survival awareness. And so these people are really, really good at assessing, making assessments in the moment without even having the time to think about it, right? Let me just go back. So I'm showing the 4816, but if we go earlier than that, there we go. So we see the 5720, right? So this for me is the trait in her that makes her a very effective pathological liar. And I'm not saying that all people with 5720 are pathological liars, but this is what makes her really good at it. Otherwise, I don't know how she would have survived being called out so many times before she was actually exposed. Like, I would not have the mental capacity or the ability to even think of lies on the spot like that. So this is someone that is very like spontaneous. It's the brainwave, right? Things just come out of their mouth without them even thinking about it, right? They don't have time to process it. So again, I'm going to talk about this channel a little bit more later, but this is why I'd put her birth time a little bit earlier rather than later, having that channel 4816. Plus, on top of that, with the 5720, this would make her either a 5-1 or a 5-2 rather than a 6-2 profile. So if she had the 4816, she'd have a 6-2 profile. And based on all the attention that she's gathered from the masses, and also her very unconventional solutions, she preached, alternative therapies a lot and the healthy eating. I know it was pretty much lies, but anyways, I would say I'm leaning more towards the fifth line because I can see how her fifth line would have attracted a lot of projections, and also a lot of people maybe seeing her as this savior, as this person that can save the day, right? And no one really knows the real Belle Gibson. Even me making this video, everything that I'm saying are all speculations and all projections. And, same thing with everyone else and all of us watching this documentary and watching Apple Cider Vinegar. We can only guess who the real Belle is. And so I feel like, again, whether she's a 5-1, let's just say just in terms of like sixth line and fifth line, when I'm thinking about it, I see a lot of that fifth line quality, right? Attracting those projections and just being someone that can influence the masses, right? Being seen as this savior, getting all these, being seen as this person that can save the day. And so when we think about whether she's a 5-1 or a 5-2, because remember, it can kind of change between those two, depending on the time that she was born. I'm leaning more towards 5-2 for a number of reasons. So number one, if she were a 5-1, I think the investigator quality would have done a lot more research to make her lies make more sense and be more credible. First lines are all about having solid foundations. And if she were a first line, she might not feel as secure to externalize anything without having the facts in place, without having all the details in place. Whereas the second line is more of a natural, right? They're not necessarily caught up in all the step-by-step, the details and that type of thing. And, Belle knew enough. And I think that maybe this comes from that gate 48 that we see here, right? Getting to a certain level of depth. Gate 48 is the gate of depth. But again, she didn't get caught up in all the details of everything. And yet she was still very natural at providing this information and creating this app and sharing her journey. On the other hand, I looked at the line quality of her design gate, so specifically her design Sun and Earth, and gate 53, gate 53, line 2, which is what she has here, right? It's the quality of momentum. And in the Rave I Ching, I'm just going to click this here for you. But in the I Ching, we can see this as the protection of early success nurtures further achievement, the pressure to start something new based on past success. And so, as soon as she got that first taste of success with the whole pantry app, she went on to do the cookbook. I think that was like the sequence of it. I think it was the app first and then the cookbook. So we see that pressure to continue building off of success, right? And then in the detriment, we see a tendency to early success, to haste and imprudent action, the pressure based on success to be impatient for something new. And yeah, I mean, basically what we see is that she's always kind of pressured to start something different. Even after this whole thing got blown up, I don't know if anyone's seen that. I saw this on TikTok, but basically she was representing herself as a part of the Ethiopian community. I don't know, maybe I'll find a clip and I'll throw it in here, but yeah, it's like nothing stopped her from starting something new again. There's that pressure to start something new. And it was really interesting because yeah, she was doing, I don't even know if you'd call this humanitarian work or whatever it is, but basically she is like speaking out on behalf of the Ethiopian community. I don't know. I'm not going to I just wanted to use that as an example. I have no idea where that came from or why she's doing that. But anyways, that was a good example for me. Just being impatient to start something new and always have something new going on. For gate 54, so gate 54 here, this is the gate of ambition. What caught my attention was the second line. And the second line here is discretion, right? In detriment. And it says recognition in the formal sense, seen as a license to take advantage of informal knowledge, a lack of loyalty, ambition, energy, which can fuel disloyalty. So first of all, informal knowledge, right? She somehow knew a lot about cancer, about alternative therapies, all these different things that she learned, not from actually experiencing it herself, but just from the informal knowledge that she was maybe researching, that she learned about, right? She didn't study this in school either. And so, yeah, she learned a lot about the wellness industry, about apps, about all these other things, and used it to her advantage, right? Took advantage of it. And then on the other hand, we see here a lack of loyalty. And I think we kind of saw this as well in her journey where she was known to be a little bit of, I don't know if a narcissist is the right word, but basically using others, being okay with throwing people under the bus or, pretending to be on someone else's side just for her benefit. And we kind of saw this in, I forget who this was, but she was apparently running a charity for someone with cancer. And that person never saw their money, right? Or this family never saw their money. And yeah, so again, we see that lack of loyalty, using others, basically throwing other people under the bus. So based on, again, all the things that we see in the media about Belle and what I'm looking at in the chart, I speculate that she is a 5-2 splenic manifestor. So I'm going to use this birth time of 8 o'clock, right? 8 a.m. for basically the rest of this analysis. Again, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Do you think she's a 5-2 splenic manifestor? Do you think she's a projector? What kind of profile do you think she has? Do you think it's a 5-1 and or a 6-2 instead of what I just shared here? But anyways, assuming this is her birth chart, I see someone who's highly independent. Again, she has a single definition and she's a manifestor. So highly independent, ambitious, impulsive as well. We see impulsive qualities, spontaneous, and also influential. And it's interesting because most of this is unconscious. All of her channels are unconsciously defined. We're going to talk about each of them in a little bit more detail. So basically what I was just sharing with you there, I'll show you where these are coming from. So first of all, we have the 54-30 too. But basically I want to highlight this because this is kind of like who Belle is and how we know Belle. 5432 is the channel of transformation, and it's a design of being driven, right? Definitely driven. This is her gift of drive, ambition, and just this awareness of what brings success and how to get to success, how to go through transformation and how to move through change and anticipate change. Gate 54, first of all, we see this is one of the core energies in her chart. 54, we see it activated 3 times, right? So ambition is a huge theme in her design. So gate 54, gate of ambition, and it's going through, we see unconscious earth going for her ambitions, and using her energy towards her ambitions is what gives her a sense of grounding and stability and balance, right? We also see, where do we have it here? Gate 32 on the other side, right? It's activated by conscious Mars. And gate 32, it's the gate of continuity. It's basically this instinctual awareness of what can endure, right? What can lead to success? What leads to continuity? I got stumbled on my words there. But someone, basically, if I were to summarize that, someone that can anticipate the what could go wrong, right? Someone that can be very practical and anticipate the obstacles of what can get in the way of success. Because really the gate 32, it's rooted in a fear of failure, and it's that fear of failure that pushes them towards this awareness of like, okay, well, what is everything else that I can do in order to avoid failure and go towards success, go towards transformation, right? And create this change. And yeah, again, like this is that part of her that is very tribal in nature. I know she does have a son as well. And maybe part of what drove her to do that is to provide for her son. Again, like that's just speculation, but she has that ability to support other people in their objectives and also achieve success and transformation. We don't know that side of the story. I don't know if maybe there is anything good that came out of it. I'm not sure. But basically she is this ambitious person that can also be a source of inspiration for other people, right? That can be a source of, I'm going to say, inspiring others to also go for their ambitions. And when you think of it in the sense of cancer, right? She claimed she had terminal brain cancer. She could have been a source of inspiration or, led other people to be very ambitious in terms of their recovery, maybe. Again, this is a very tribal channel. It's all about support, providing support. And so it's through her ambition. Again, even though it was based in lies, maybe the intention behind it was good. I don't know. So gate 32, again, it's activated by conscious Mars. Mars is all about this immature energy, right? So something that can cause a lot of trouble, especially early on in their life, but is there to mature over time. That's there to be a part of their transformation. That's there to be a part of how they fulfill their purpose. And what I can see in terms of the trouble that it might have caused early on is that when there is a very reactive fear of failure, right? And I think we got it. I think this reactive expression of that fear of failure is what pushed her to do all the things to avoid that failure, right? It caused her to lie, right? She lied about the biggest things in order to avoid maybe being caught, having her business go down the drain, all this other stuff. So that could have been a very reactive form of the fear of failure, pushing her to lie and keep up this whole facade, basically. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. We're going to move on to the 5720. Again, this is the part of her design that I mentioned earlier. Channel of the brainwave, this is what it's called. It's a design of penetrating awareness, right? This is the gift of assessing any situation on the spot. It's improvising, spontaneous recognition, spontaneous expression. These people can be very blunt in their expression. They're not thinking about it. They just kind of blurt things out. And this is that expression of their intuition. And really expression of their intuition for survival, right? To keep them safe. And so when you think about it, being able, being able to maintain that lie for so long requires a lot of skill, requires like a really good sense of intuition, saying the right things so that people don't catch on right away and that, you're still safe. And so, yeah, this is what I feel made her really good at I don't know if people choose to be a pathological liar. I think there might be more underlying things. She actually seemed to believe, based on the interviews, like she seemed to believe her lies and to maybe believe that at some point there was something wrong with her. Again, I think there were definitely there were definitely deeper issues there. But this is what kept her alive, and this is what led her to be able to maintain this for so long. Even after this whole thing blew up, she's been charged, she's been convicted, but she still hasn't paid anything, right? She's not in jail. She's still out there. And so I guess, I don't know how this happened, but her intuition kept her safe, right? As horrible as that sounds, the victims didn't get paid for it. And, it's been this whole thing, but we see here that she's kind of had that ability to keep herself safe in this situation. And we also see 57 is activated by Mercury, conscious Mercury. Mercury is all about communication, thinking patterns, and what she communicates is basically her intuition in the now. And it's, her intuition that keeps her safe. So she's really good at thinking things up on the spot, even if it hurts other people. So that's what we see there. Gate 20, we see here, this is the unconscious moon that I was talking about earlier. But basically she's driven, or unconsciously driven, to be in the now. Or, you can even say driven to speak in the now, because we see this hooked up to the 57, right? We see this all about expression in the now, basically. And I honestly think that if this were not the case, then she might not have been able to think so fast on her feet and do things so quickly on her feet, and be able to listen to the questions that she's being asked and formulate some kind of answer or response to it, right? Next, we have over here, channel of the alpha, totally unconscious. And channel of the alpha, again, this is, interestingly enough, it's a design of leadership for good or for bad. It's the gift of influence. It's the gift of leadership. And so in the 7, we have the role of self. It's activated by the unconscious Jupiter. And we also have gate 31 activated by, let's see here. Oh, Mercury. Okay. Also interesting. So gate 31 is the gate of influence. When it's activated by Mercury, again, Mercury is all about communication. So she has this unconscious voice of influence. She is not even thinking about it. Just what she says tends to have this influential impact in some way, right? The gate 7, again, this is very similar. It's more like direction, right? In terms of leadership and just putting this together. This is the ability to lead, to bring people into the future. Unfortunately, it wasn't based on, based in integrity. And I think the idea of these healthy recipes could have been really, really successful. And I think that she definitely has the qualities to be influential and to, lead people for the good. But unfortunately, things didn't steer that way, right? But with that, again, I feel like this channel of the alpha is what allowed her to gather so much support and grow her following. This is, first of all, manifestor, single definition, channel of the alpha. We also see gate 21 here, very much all about control and, very authoritative in a sense as well. So all of this kind of led to her growing this big following and having the potential to lead. Unfortunately, she has the gifts to do all of these things, but for some reason, I guess she felt like she had to lie in order to get there. I feel like she is very bright, very intelligent to have been able to do that. As an entrepreneur, I know how difficult it can be. So hats off to her for even being able to do this, right? So anyways, moving on, I just wanted to look at her Sun and Earth gates. Because again, Sun and Earth gates, very, very important. This is what plays 70% of our energetic imprint, right? These are heavy hitters in our chart. So gate 48, again, I wanted to save this for last, but gate 48 is one of the most important energies in her charts. This is her core essence, right? The sun is your core essence, core expression, and it's all about depth. It's basically this instinctual awareness of potential solutions and depth to correct patterns. And that's exactly what she did. I mean, she gave solutions, she gave potential solutions, and she had the depth to present them and to create things for her people, for her tribe, for her community. It's also rooted in the fear of inadequacy, or this fear that you lack depth. And that's what pushes you to get this depth. That's what pushes you to, do those investigations. Very similar to investigator, right? What's also interesting here is that in the fifth line, we see insecurity with one's depth that can fail to take action. I'm not sure if she failed to take action. I feel like maybe hers might have been overactive. Maybe if we were to look at it from the sense that this insecurity pushed her to lie, making her feel like she wasn't capable of being successful without having to base it in something that wasn't true, right? So yeah, very interesting there. Let's move over to the 21 again. So when we look at the earth, right? And I'm going to talk about it from both of them. We already talked about the gate 54. 54 is that ambition, right? But when we look at what brings her grounding and balance and stability, we always look to the earth. And so what we see here in terms of what brings her balance and grounding and stability is being in control and, bringing her or using her energy towards her ambitions. It's funny because when you put the two together, that's exactly what she was doing in her business, right? She, I think, tried to control everything, all the perceptions of her. When things weren't going her way, she added on more lies. I think that was part of her way of getting rid of any uncertainty and feeling like she was out of control of her success and her, ambition being able to manifest itself. So again, I can see how maybe the control even on an extreme side pushed her to lie and try to control all the different factors to lean in her favor of success, right? And actually, just to kind of wrap up a little bit about the 21 is the gate of the hunter, right? It's the willpower to be in control. And again, one of the biggest challenges is either on one hand feeling out of control, not, she has this in an open ego center actually. And so she might feel out of control at times, and that can be very shocking to her or very destabilizing for her, especially when her earth is in an undefined heart center, right? It can feel very unstable and ungrounding. Yeah, so again, grounded when she's in control and grounded when she is working on her ambitions. We also see, again, gate 53, beginnings, pressure to start something new. 54, pressure and fuel to achieve her ambitions. And all of this, again, it comes together and it makes so much sense when I think of it in the context of her design. Unfortunately, it wasn't maybe used in the best way. And I know they say like, oh, your incarnation cross is signposts, or, the themes of your incarnation cross, they're more so signposts, right? Of whether or not you're living your design. I feel like you can still see them no matter what. It's just going to express themselves in different ways. On the other hand, when we give a summary of this design, this is someone that can be a leader, right? An influential, ambitious leader with the ability to improvise and, speak up on the spot and basically save her ass in times of crisis, being a 5-2, right? And also having that natural ability to get out there to have the success that she has. But what we also see is, going back to this undefined heart center, feeling unworthy and undervalued, maybe causing her to do things that don't really matter, right? With that open head center, such as lie in order to gain success. And then we have her avoiding truth and confrontation, right? In this open solar plexus. So avoiding that truth and confrontation and pretending to be certain in the ajna by coming up with more lies in order to avoid maybe the discomfort of telling the truth and coming clean. So, it maybe started off as like one little white lie, and then it just all added up from there. And so avoiding this truth, avoiding that confrontation of that first lie just caused her to continuously add more and more to it until things, of course, exploded. And then, of course, not knowing when enough is enough. We don't know too much about her energetically, if she was exhausted, drained, or anything like that. But it would make sense. But at the same time, she was a manifestor. She was living her design, doing her thing. And just to bring this all together, I think today was like a little bit all over the place, but I do believe that she's a 5-2 manifestor, 5-2 splenic manifestor with single definition. She's someone who's going to leave an impact and provide leadership no matter where she goes, whether for the good or the bad. And we've seen this come into play. Hopefully she's learned from her mistakes and sees that she can be talented and successful without having to lie, but I guess time will only tell. So that's it for today's chart dive. And if you want to learn how to read and analyze a human design chart and you want to add it to your skill set as a coach or service provider, or even start a meaningful career or business in human design, this is exactly what I train my students to do inside the Reader Certification Program. We go beyond the information that you're learning on this channel, beyond what you're learning in the books, and help you build the skills and the confidence to actually, read, analyze, synthesize, and apply human design in real life, and also deliver it in the most empowering possible way. And you'll get to learn in an incredibly supportive, high vibe community. So if this feels aligned, if this is correct for you, I invite you to check out the link in the description down below, or even enroll and you can get started right away. Anyways, that's all for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. So please let me know down in the comments what you think about Belle's chart and whether you agree or disagree or have any other observations you want to share. I'd love to hear them. Let's have that conversation. And if you like these types of videos, I'd be so grateful if you show me some love and hit that like button, show your support, and you'll get more videos just like this one. So with that said, have an amazing day or evening wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.